All right, guys. Hello. Welcome to the Kickoff Classic. I'm here with my guy Chino from the LA Guerrillas. How you doing, Chino?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm excited to be here for this. This is kind of like my first time doing one of these things. And for those of you who might not know me, my name's Chino, or I'm going by Cheen now. And I'm a sub for the LA Gorillas. And yeah,
How you been, man? How was your off season? Like, how you doing? Happy to find you a spot here on a pro team.
yeah, my off season was pretty good. I recently bought a house for my family, so that was awesome. And yeah, I mean, I was kind of worried if I was going to be able to get on another team. I feel like I did well enough in MW to get a shot, and LAG was a team to give it to me. So I'm excited
I'm
to
really
be
happy
here.
you got a shot. A lot of people don't know this, but me and Chino have been like a duo for a long time. We used to play even S&D wagers back in the day. This was going like 7 years ago now. It's actually crazy to think that it's been that long. Glad to see that you're still competing at a high level, and I hope to see you back starting on a pro team soon. Let's hop right into this, guys. The LA Guerrillas are doing an Astro giveaway. Leave a hashtag lights out in the live chat, and the Guerrillas will get in touch with the winner. There's going to be one pre-show and post-show, so make sure you go in for that and get your chance to win an Astro headset. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the LA Guerrillas YouTube channel. They're coming in with the great content. I'm so excited for this year, so excited for everything that is to come. I think that it's about time that we look at the Kickoff Classic schedule and see who's playing today. All right. Leading off, Cheen, we have Empire and the Subliners. What are you thinking about this match?
I think this match is going to be a good one. We got Clay going up against his old team in the Dallas Empire. I think right now it's kind of one-sided, I would say, in the Empire's favor. Subliners having some roster changes. Zuma recently retiring or taking a break for his injury, so that really sucks. But yeah, that's gonna be our first match. Clay against his old team, but I mean, it should still be an exciting one. I'm sure he's gonna bring the passion.
It's unfortunate that that Zuma is retiring. Right, he's a Call of Duty legend, and it came out of nowhere. They're picking up a new up-and-coming challenger player, Diamond Khan, who's apparently really talented, but that means one of their players has to switch roles, and then they're playing against what is considered the best team in the game, your previous champions, right off the bat. That should be a tough one, but also exciting one, right?
Yeah.
Next, we have FaZe versus the Mutineers. Gene, what are your thoughts?
FaZe versus Mutineers. I think FaZe. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are saying right now that they're probably the best team in the game. If not them, I think Empire. And I mean, they picked up Arcides in the offseason. Insane roster pickup. The guy has been absolutely insane for years now in the main AR. Pairing him up with these guys, it's kind of like a dream roster, you know? And then going up against Mutineers, they've recently dropped Havoc and, well, benched Havoc, and now they're playing with Neptune, which is really surprising. I don't think anybody expected that. And I I feel confident in saying this FaZe will probably win this match. But I mean, Mutineers, they just picked up a new player, and I just feel like they don't have enough time yet in that. So I feel like this should be a good match, but it will probably heavily favored in FaZe.
So I think you made a good point. I think that the Mutineers are a really good team, right? I think that they're kind of slept on with the roster. They have a really strong S&D roster, but they did make that team change for Neptune. Apparently, he's playing really well, but they're going against a roster that, on paper, is like you really couldn't ask for more at any given role. They have one of the best aggressive sub players in the BZ, slower paced one in Simp that gets everything done. Celium, who's I guess like the ultimate flex player, he just does whatever, and then RC's one of the best AR players in the world. I mean, of course, I'm leaning towards FaZe with you, but I do think that Mutineers have a lot that they can show people and surprise people in this match.
I was gonna say just like a short little tribute. Rest in peace to F3 Pharaoh. Uh, he's always gonna be remembered in the COD community, a legend, and we'll miss you, man.
The London Royal Ravens versus Paris Legion. So let me start with this one. This one's a little bit weird because um, Zero, one of the London Royal Ravens players, isn't in America currently. I saw that he was tweeting that he was playing from Europe. So I'm not sure how that's going to affect the match. But I mean, obviously that puts you at a disadvantage, right, going into the match. But they did put together a surprisingly strong roster. I was surprised to see them not keep Scraps or Wuskin in the offseason, but here we are. What do you think of this London Royal Ravens roster?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like them bringing in Shawnee last year was a solid pickup. He surprised, I feel like, everybody and how good he actually was. And I was really surprised too to see that they didn't keep Scraps or Wuskins, but maybe it was just they felt really confident in Shawnee being able to take over the main AR. And I mean, he's proven to be a really solid player. So them picking up Alex to go along with this roster right now is another great pickup. I feel like he was really good on Minnesota last year, and I'm sure he'll just keep it up right now. And overall, I think this is a really strong roster. It's actually, I feel like they're kind of underrated. I don't think people see them as that great of a team, but I feel like they're going to prove a lot of people wrong with how strong they really will be.
I think that even though it's been a while now, I still think that European COD still has that stigma where no one actually believes that they're going to be the best team. You know what I mean? Even if they put together a strong roster, even if they consistently play at a high level, people still don't think they're going to be up there with the best. But I do agree with you in that they have a roster that is a lot better than people think when you first look at it. But on the other end, we have the Paris Legion. And I think there's something to say for people that are considered the Scraps. Not I know Scraps is on the team, no pun intended, but the Scraps. They're like the last people that were picked up. But they're all talented players, and they're all playing for their livelihoods essentially, right? And they picked up Fire, who's a new up and coming player. I think that Classic's been one of the more underrated players, and I think this team actually has a chance to do something really impressive in this league. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like this is a roster where I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I think a lot of people kind of have them in the dead last right now, just what is Paris doing kind of thing. But I mean, Fire, I've played with the guy a bit, just like randomly, and he seems to have a lot of passion. Like, he really cares for the game. He wants to make something out of it, which is something you want out of a player. You want somebody who's really, driven to do well and, like, just succeed. And you got, like you said, you got somebody like Classic, who's been underrated, extremely underrated for years now. I don't think people see what he does for teams. And then you just got two all-around solid just Slayers and Aqua and Scraps. And I feel like this team, maybe it'll take a little bit of time for them to get adjusted to each other, considering they kind of just, started practicing again. But I feel like they're going to be a solid team, and people should respect the Paris Legion.
Yeah, I also, they're one of those teams where I feel like anyone should know that they could get dropped or replaced at any given time. Like someone like Aqua, who in the past has admittedly himself not gone as hard as he should have, not put in the work that he should have. But a clear replacement for him would be Wuskins, right? Like Scrap's twin brother. So that puts a lot of pressure on you to actually stay with the craft and work as hard as you can. And I know I've seen him say that he's going to do that, but a lot of people fall into bad habits. As long as he doesn't do that, I think that they should be fine. And then one of the big ones on paper right here, we have the LA Thieves newly joined into the CDL, and Optic Chicago. This is a big one. What are your thoughts, Cheen?
This is kind of the match I think everybody wanted to see, and the fact that we're getting it first match for them like into the season is awesome. We got the LA Thieves all-star roster in Temp, Slasher, Kenny, and Tej. All players who've just been amazing throughout all like their whole career. That honestly, I would say they've just been, talented players who work really hard. And I feel like the only thing that is kind of really stopping this team from being super successful all year is themselves. They're a great roster, but they do have some hot heads on the squad. I mean, that's just because they all want to win. They all want to prove that they're the best. And I mean, I'm really excited to see this matchup go against the Chicago roster.
There's a couple of things to unpack in this, right? So on the Chicago roster, we have Dashy, who was a starter for the LA Thieves team last season and got dropped. So he actually got dropped for you, but it's hard to beat the guy that you drop, right? People come with that extra fire, that extra intensity in that first match against those guys. I feel like this is one of the natural rivalries in the league. Slasher doesn't like to lose to Optic. Optic doesn't like to lose to Slasher. Dashy wants to beat TJ. Like there's a lot of back and forth, and we have two rosters that are just jam-packed with talent. I I mean, obviously we have no idea what's going to happen here. I talked to Slasher yesterday. Actually, he said that they're going to go incredibly hard. They're playing this to win. Like this is the start of the season. This is their first tournament match. This is their first chance to see what everyone has to bring, and they're going to take this 100% serious and go after Optic in a big way to start the season off on the right foot. So that could be a really big one. So what do you think about, just in general, the LA Thieves joining the CDL?
I think that's hype. I mean, I feel like they're one of the teams that's been wanting to join the CDL since the start. I feel like Nate Shot, he started in COD. He's been like a lover of the esport, and the fact that he was finally able to get a spot and it be in LA for him is perfect. And I mean, it's always great to have a huge organization like 100 Thieves join up and just, bring more promotion to the scene.
I think it's just great that he was able to get back into the league with LA Thieves with basically his old team.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. He didn't have to go out of the way to pick up expansion players or whatever it may be. He got back in, got Slasher and Kenny back, got basically his core back. I mean, even Enable's part of LA Thieves now, and it just adds so much profile to the league, right? Just to add another high profile to the team to the league. And I think, on the other hand, it also adds a natural rivalry. Even though I feel LA Thieves versus Optic, they've become more friendly than they were when they first started. Just that natural rivalry of having Nate Shot, who basically helped build Optic into what it is, always competing against them and always playing against them for those championships. That natural rivalry that you have there. And then, of course, you're always going to have a rivalry. Anytime Clay gets dropped or leaves from a team, he's always going to want to beat his old teams. Like, he just didn't like what happened with the Twins the first time around when they lost, when they left the United. And now, same thing with the Empire. He has a little bit of an uphill battle this time because of what just happened with Zuma. But there's just natural rivalries around the league. What's your favorite rivalry that you're looking forward to?
My favorite rivalry, I'd probably say Scraps versus London. I think he feels like he was kind of done wrong by the whole organization. He feels like he probably should have stayed there. And I think he's going to bring the fire, honestly, in that first match and want to just beat them as bad as he can, I feel.
Wow, I didn't even consider it that way. Yeah, that's a big one. That's another big one. I mean, for me, it's always gonna be the Clay thing, just because of how because of how loud he is. It's not necessarily the match itself. It's the aftermath. Like, you just can't let him win. You know what I mean? He can lose 20 times to you, but you just can't let him win that one time. It's just gonna be so annoying for so long. So that's definitely my favorite. I think it's about time we get into the Guerrillas versus the Surge match. It's going to be Apathy, Silly, Assault, and Vivid. Vivid is remaining from the team last season, and he made a huge splash. And of course, they're picking up a team that was the core of a world championship team. This is huge. And we're returning back to 4v4, where we're seeing these players shine. I would say that all of them, with the exception of Vivid, they really didn't have the same impact on the map in 5v5 games that they had in 4v4. But now that we're back to 4v4, you're picking up Apathy, two-time world champion, and three-time finalist, and then you have two more world champions. I think the LA Guerrillas did an amazing job in the offseason and picked up a team that gives them a real chance at competing at a high level after last season.
Yeah, I feel like you put it in the right way. I feel like Reese has been, or Vivid, he's been a really standout player over the last couple of years. BO4, he was kind of like an up-and-coming player. He was, pretty good. And then in MW, I feel like he finally got a shot. He had a good amateur start to the season, got a shot on Guerrillas, and I feel like he's one of those players who's kind of made the most of his opportunity. He's always trying to, just play the best to his ability, and if he makes a mistake, he's always trying to learn. And he's just like a level-headed guy too. So if you give him criticism, he's not gonna, just take it to heart. He's gonna actually put your words into perspective and actually do it. So yeah, I feel like he's a really great player for this roster to have. And like you said, the rest just world champions. They know how to get things done. They know how to get their teamwork down. That's what they thrive off. And I think that's one thing that's really going to help the Guerrillas this season.
And they're reunited with Bevels, right? So they should have trust and faith in the coach that led them to a world championship. It's a bit different this time around. They've one different player, maybe a big vocal piece. If Vivi can slot himself in anywhere in that sense, I think this team could be huge in the long run. So Assault and Silly in particular started out last year extremely strong with Minnesota. They were considered a top 4 team throughout the beginning course of the game, but then they fell off later on. If this team can hold on to that momentum and get there and consistently play at a high level, that could be really scary because we've always seen in the past where Apathy is the kind of guy that gets better towards the end of the season. So if they can help pull him along at the very beginning, he gets better, he turns into that championship dunk, and then all of a sudden, LA Guerrillas have a really, really good shot at pulling home some championships. So what are a couple of the key things that you think the Guerrillas can do to be a top team the rest of the season?
Like I was saying before, I feel like their team is really, really based on teamwork. I feel like they're all strong players in their own right. They know how to win gunfights. They know how to do everything every COD player knows how to do. But they really take the time, especially with the coaches like Bevels and Ricky. They really put it into their brains to make sure we're always using teamwork, always communicating, and I feel like that's one thing that's really going to make them stand out over some of these other teams. Is it's a 4v4 game. It's not as chaotic as 5v5. You can have certain strats you could do. You have certain things that will work a lot of the time if you're just always working together. And I feel like that's how they're really going to thrive and how they put themselves over the top this year.
Okay, I think that switch to 44 we both touch on it is super important for this roster in particular. I just don't feel like these players were super comfortable in 5v5.
Yeah.
They just never clicked the right way. But I think that makes them an underrated team going into this season. I do agree with you there that they can just start doing things the right way and they can actually start surprising teams because, like you said, they know how to shoot the guns. Like people always ask, like players that are losing are just don't know how to play the game correctly, but they do. It's just they need to get over that little hump, and I think that this team will do that. Any players that you're looking forward to for this match, Gorilla versus Surge?
Yeah, we got him up on the screen right now. Reese Vivid, the guy lately in scrims. I've been watching him play, and he's been an absolute animal. He's been taking over recently. I saw them scrim the Dallas Empire the other day, and I think the guy literally had a 2.0 KD every single map as your entry and aggressive sub. I think that's amazing, and I think this year is honestly going to be the year where he really shines and proves his worth to people. I feel like people kind of underestimated him in MW. Great search player, but I would say
Yeah.
respawns. Obviously, it was a little tough for that whole team. But I feel like this year is the year that he's really going to shine, and people are really going to, have a lot of respect for him now and treat him as the top SMG player in the game.
So I think that people are like, since his search is actually really fantastic. That 23% first blood, that aggression that they had, especially with the type of players that they have around them. Assault and Silly aren't necessarily the fastest, but Silly's a really good S&D player in his own right. So you have a team really that can truly compete with anyone at a high level in S&D, and all they have to do is figure out how to consistently take a couple respawns, and this team could be a really scary team. I think that when people form teams, they never look at the respawn component. I don't think that ever happens, but even you in the past, team, you've been on a team where you got second, and your guys' strongest game mode was S&D, right? Like people just don't
Mhm.
value it, even though it's 2/5 of a series like everything else. It's super important. People don't value it when they make teams, and I think this team is an extremely strong S&D roster. Anyone on the Seattle Surge that you're looking forward to seeing play in this match?
Yeah, so the Surge's roster right now, I believe, is Octane, Gunless, Pristini, and Looney. I feel like that's a really, well-rounded squad. I feel like they got, just kind of just like a good core of players. But I would probably say the player I'm most excited to see is probably Looney. I feel like he kind of just got thrown in the dirt early last year. They didn't really want to play with him anymore in Toronto, and he kind of just sat it out, and it was a tough situation for him. But I feel like this year is a year that he could really thrive. From what I've noticed, a lot of teams kind of have this sneaky type of sub player that I feel like is a way to thrive on this game. Somebody who's going to be hitting the rotations for you. Somebody's going to be playing the corners just to be annoying and, kind of just like 4v4 COD stuff, just the way it is. And I feel like him this year is a person I really want to watch. And also for the series, I think he could definitely surprise a lot of people this year with how good he can actually be.
See, on the same token, I'm really excited to watch Gunless because I feel like both of those guys are championship Call of Duty players, but they were both discarded kind of unfairly in the middle of the season for whatever reason. Maybe it was in game, maybe it was out of game. for Gummis, he was people considered him the best player on Chicago last year at the time, and he got dropped. Right, it was either him or
Mhm.
Arcees early on in the season. But we know that sometimes these players have, how do you say it? They don't get along with their teammates the best possible way, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of mental and emotional components that go along with it. But Looney and Gunless were on a team together before that won championships in World War II. So I'm actually interested to see if they can get back to that, if they can get to that teamwork level. But right now, it seems like they're a team that has actually been struggling. So we will see if they can bounce back. And I think this is a good match for both teams to start off with because both teams should feel confident going into this match. I don't think. I think that this is a great matchup to start with, as opposed to something like Empire, where that team is already firmly established and they have all their
Yeah.
teamwork and chemistry down. This is a great match to start. What are your predictions for this match?
I was saying earlier that I think it's probably gonna be 3-2 in favor of the Gorillas. I think they're gonna win both searches, but um, I think I'm still probably gonna go with that. I feel like uh, if anything, the Surge are probably gonna be a pretty good hardpoint team. I'm not 100% sure on that. I could just be talking. But I just feel like Gorillas.
It's the
Uh,
kickoff. I mean, we're all just
yeah,
talking. We don't know yet at all.
yeah. But I feel like the Gorillas are definitely going to be a better search team, and I feel like we'll probably come out on top in both of the searches and just win the series 3-2.
I think I'm going to go with Gorillas 3-2 as well because of the search. I just feel like naturally they're better search players than the Seattle Surge players, but the scary part is we don't know how good Surge are in those hard points. So that's a
Exactly.
good test for the Gorillas right off the bat. Surge have on paper a stronger hardpoint unit, but definitely a much worse search unit, and I don't think that I
I don't
don't
think
think that
anybody
they'll
could
be able to hold
disagree.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that they'll be able to hold off the Gorillas, and I see Gorillas coming out with a close 3-2 match. And both teams are going to be able to leave with a lot to work on, right? And it's really important for the kickoff. They can iron out those kinks. And yeah, so we're both going LAG 3-2. We'll see. All right, man. All right, let's go on to the next. Let's go on to the next topic. You got any spicy takes for this season, Sheen? Anything that people aren't predicting so far? Like, not like, hey, I think Empire's the best. Give me something, Sheen. Give me something. What do you got?
Um, I think the LA Gorillas are gonna win COD champs. Boom.
Whoa. Whoa. That's spicy. That's spicy. That'd be one heck of a turnaround from last season. So I do believe. I mean, there's a chance they've done it before. I'm not gonna say it's not possible. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say that you're gonna see a lot of struggle, a lot more struggle than you think from the LA Thieves roster. Like I know that we're back to 44 and everyone's super excited to see them back in it. But something about it, I just feel like they're too temperamental. I feel like there's too much emotion on that team, and of course, it could go the other way where with all that emotion, you can make diamonds, right? They could become champions,
Yeah.
but we've seen it implode before. I've seen,
Couple of times.
I've seen their teams implode before multiple times too, and they have who I consider in Kenny probably like one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world. But he can't do it on his own. Like when things implode emotionally over there, I feel like that's a huge problem, and it can never be fixed, which is the issue. You usually have to make a roster change and hope to get lucky there. And also, I think that the Paris Legion are going to be a lot better than people think. So, like, I think you said at the beginning, people look at the roster and go, "What are they doing over at Paris?" And
Yeah.
I'm looking at the roster like, you know what? They actually have a solid mix of players, both respawn and search and destroy, aggression out of classic and fire. Like, I actually feel the team has a really good chance at competing at a high level. And on paper, it just doesn't look that way at all, to be honest. But I feel like the team can put it together and somehow win some matches that people don't expect.
Yeah, I do think that Paris roster is going to surprise a lot of people, and I did say that earlier too about the LA Thieves. Their biggest opponent is 1,000% themselves. Uh, they're great players, great like just literally an all star lineup. But all it comes down to is how they you know handle their practice, handle their stress, and actually just try to improve off of their like mistakes they make and not just let it get to them. I feel like that's one thing that can really just drive that roster down.
Absolutely, Gene. Absolutely. We're on the same page there. Um, so if you were about to make a tier list, power rankings, who are the teams that you'd put at the top?
Top, I'd probably say FaZe, Empire, Thieves. I would probably put at the top. I feel like those teams are. Yeah, I'd probably say Optic too. I'd probably say those four teams are a solid top four foundation. They're like on paper, they seem like the strongest teams. They seem like all amazing. After that, I'd probably say LAG. I'm trying to think of all the teams right now off my head. LAG. I'm gonna look at the teams real quick. LAG, Subliners, Mutineers, and Rocker. I feel like those are like the kind of just like four, like 5 through 8, and then after that, I'd probably say the rest fill it out. The Ultra, Ravens, Legion, and Surge. I feel like it's not like I'm saying those teams are bad in like a sense. I'm just saying I feel like those are the teams that are kind of weaker compared to others.
Oh yeah, no matter what, whenever you make any type of tier list, the
Yeah,
teams that are not at the top are gonna be like, "What are you saying? You obviously didn't pay
yeah,
attention to what we are saying." But no one in the league is bad. We're at a 12 teams, 44 league. Call of Duty's never had this much competition. All of the teams have great players on it, like down to like you said, the Ultra would be in your bottom level. They have Cammy and Kleenex, who last year proved to be insane talents. If they can continue that this year, they won't be in that bottom level. They just have to prove it. I also have the same four teams in my top four: FaZe, Empire, Optic, and LA Thieves. LA Thieves is a team that I just don't feel like they could be the fourth best team. That's just not how they operate mentally,
yeah.
but they could easily be the best team. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Optic, obviously, for they just have a ridiculous roster. Dashy said he learned a lot from his mistakes last year and how he was as a teammate, which is huge. Everyone has to grow up at some point, and he's doing that. So now he's going to come with the fire this year and really come to practice with the right attitude. And then Empire and FaZe go without saying. They just have on paper the two most talented rosters, all the chemistry in the world. Um, I just feel like those teams are super strong. In my middle, I have LAG, the Rocker, the same teams pretty much, minus the Subliners. I feel like the Subliners just have too many question marks. I'm not really
Yeah,
sure about that team. I usually don't put Clay's teams in those spots, but this team's a little bit different. They just have so
yeah,
much
it's
youth and so much inexperience, so I'm not really sure where to
hectic
go with
right now.
them. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I was saying it's a little hectic right now for them. It's like their
Yeah.
roster, like they want to play with Hydra. He's not here. They wanted to play with Zuma. He's not there anymore, and they're in a weird spot right now.
All right, guys. I think that's all from us here. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm super excited for the start of the season with this kickoff weekend. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the LA Guerrillas YouTube channel. Remember, hashtag lights out in the chat. We're doing an Astro giveaway right now, and we're also going to be doing one after the show Sunday. Cheen, any last thoughts to leave us out with?
No, just excited to have some Call of Duty back. It's been a while, and I hope it's a great week of matches.
Me too, man. I'm super excited. I feel like it's been so long in the off season. Every off season gets me antsy. I'm just super hyped to get back to the matches. Man, I can't wait. Let's kick off this weekend with a bang. See you guys soon.